Your father is black or was black, I don't know. He was a drug dealer and a pimp. Your mother, white, was an orphan. You never graduated from college. Your first job was cleaning toilet, and I heard that you were amazing. You did an amazing job cleaning toilets, but then later on you move on and you play in the stock market. You made a few millions. You lost it all, and now you are the CEO of a publishing company, but you still don't know how to spell correctly. You just published a book called I Got There: How a Mixed Race Kid Overcame Racism, Poverty, and Abuse to Achieve the American Dream. And to finish everything off, you are an amazing keynote speaker. JeVon, thank you for being here.
Oh, Alan, how's it going, sir?
Man, I just couldn't get enough of reading your book. It's a thriller. It's a thriller, but at the same time, it's a story of resilience and overcoming the odds. And but the amazing thing is that what you achieve, anybody else who have the proper mindset can achieve it as well. In spite of the odds, difficult circumstances, if a person believes that it can be done, I'm sure it can be done. So I would like to start by you maybe sharing a little bit of your background. I mean, I just said it all in the introduction, but from your own words, can you tell us about your beginning?
Well, it's interesting because you said I never graduated from college. Hell, I never graduated from high school. I ended up having to get a GED, but the big thing that I would focus on what you just said was mindset, and I giving the fractured background that I come from. You said it. My father was a pimp and drug dealer. He also fathered 23 children. He had 23 kids. My mother was an orphan. I still don't know where my last name comes from. And then I was sexually abused at the ages of 6, 7, and 8 by one of my dad's prostitutes. And so, yeah, I've got a very fractured background, but I developed a formula for myself, what I call mindset, choices, and hard work equals success. And so with the mindset, and you touched on it, is I have the mindset that I refuse to be a victim, and I have the choice to either be a victim or not be a victim. And yes, what was I sexually abused? Yes, I was. Was it hard? Yes, it was. But I can't change the past, and so I don't focus on the past. I focus on what changes can I make going forward. And then the other part, mindset, choices, hard work. Well, hard work, I just made a commitment that I'll always outwork anyone who wants to go side by side with me, and I believe that formula has helped me achieve success.
Okay, so mindset. I mean, this is a sticking point for almost everyone. Everyone is afraid to get out of their world that they know. How do you develop that mindset? How do you believe they believe that you could do it, that you could have a different path in your life?
Much of it is what you tell yourself, and so many people. We live in a world that's very negative, and people choose to focus on the negative. Any given day, if you ask me, "Hey, how are you doing?" I always say I'm excellent. If you wake up in the morning and your feet hit the ground, you should be excellent. And so I choose and I make a very conscious decision to be positive. And the way I keep my mindset positive and choose to look forward is I don't focus on the negative things around me. Yeah, I know there's a lot of negative in the world. Here in the States, look at what we're going through with the election and the protest and everything. Yeah, there's a lot of negativity. But I choose to continue to focus on what's positive and where I want to go. People get so caught up in the negative and the mudslinging and the name calling and that doesn't do anything for me. So I don't focus on it. One of the big factors I'll share with you, Alan. Um, my life is comprised of what I call my 5 pillars: God, health, family, business, and investing. If it doesn't fall in those 5 pillars, I don't do it. And I'll give you an example. I love to play golf, but golf takes 4.5 hours to play a round of golf. I've got four small children. I'd rather spend that time with my children than go play golf. I'd rather spend time with my family than watch an NFL football game. So I'm very, very conscious of where do I spend my time and what do I focus on. I'm not on any social media platforms other than LinkedIn. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I don't have Instagram. I'm not on TikTok because for me, I find those to be a waste of time. I don't care who's dancing on a TikTok video. I don't care who just posted a picture of their food on Instagram. That's a waste of time. So I choose to focus on the things in my life that are important to me.
Okay, but for a person who has a difficult upbringing like you did and sees nothing but negativity, it takes certain amount of effort to say, "Boy, I'm going to get out of here." So, what would be some steps that they can do to maybe isolate themselves from the negativity and follow a path of success? For example, your father was a drug dealer, okay? You could say, this is the way to success for me. My father has a red Cadillac Eldorado with beautiful woman. Why not? Why couldn't I be a drug dealer? In fact, you were saying that you could even make more profit as a pimp by allowing the prostitutes to keep a little bit of their share. So, I mean, if that's the world that you know, and that's how your mind is being programmed, and that's the case for millions of Americans right now. Their minds have been programmed that this is the only way out. You somehow manage to get a job cleaning toilets, and somehow you change your mindset to take a different route. But a lot of people cannot do that.
I would say this, Alan. I'll push back a little bit. You say a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people choose not to,
Right,
and
right.
that's the key. Don't get me wrong. The fast money of being a drug dealer and a pimp, yes, that money will come faster. But I didn't want to go to prison. I did not want to go to man prison. So I wanted to find a better way out. And yes, I started cleaning toilets, but I remembered something my father said to me when I was a kid. He said, no matter what you do in life, be the best at it. If you are going to sweep streets for a living, be the best street sweeper. So when I found myself cleaning those toilets, I said, okay, I'm going to be the best at this and have the cleanest toilets in the city. And then from there it was asking questions. How can I learn more? I'll share this story with you, Alan. It's not in the book. When I was at the insurance company and I was the mail boy and I was filing, there was a free lunch and learn, and it said free lunch and learn 401k. And all I saw was free lunch. I was like, okay, I'm going to eat for free. And I didn't even know what a 401k was. And in fact, when it said free lunch and learn 401k, I asked someone, where is the conference room 401k? Because I thought it was a conference room. So when I went in there, I heard two of the greatest words that I had ever heard, which was compound interest. And then I got hooked on the stock market and learning how to invest. The one pushback that I will give to society right now is with YouTube and the internet, we have so much knowledge at our fingertips. It's really a choice. Are you going to sit there and choose to watch a bunch of nonsense TikTok videos, or are you going to choose to watch YouTube videos about investing or whatever it is that's of interest to you? I find it very interesting that so many people will spend the entire weekend binge watching, but you've never heard someone say, oh my God, we binge studied our 401k all weekend. No one says that. But it's a choice. You didn't have to binge watch the Game of Thrones. You could have chose to binge study your 401k. And so we have to look at ourselves in the mirror, take accountability, and make decisions on what do we want to focus on.
I had to tell you we are colleagues because I came to Canada and my first job was cleaning toilets as well. So I did that for a few years. But in addition to that, binge watching YouTube. I couldn't get a job because I live in a francophone province, and here my French was not Quebecois enough. It was not the proper accent, and I had to start a business, and my teacher was YouTube. So I did watch YouTube for weeks on how to create a business. So yeah, it's everyone has the same amount, same tools. It's
Yes.
just how do you use it? You use a range to, I don't know, to play around or to, or as a tool to work, and you decided you were going to study, invest your money in the stock market, and other people just go there for the lunch.
True, true. And here's the thing, Alan. I've had people push back at me about this. They're like, well, it's not that easy. And I said to them, in my formula, you never heard me say easy. I said mindset, choices, and hard work equals success. I didn't say easy was in there anywhere. Many of the choices you will make in life, the hardest choices you will make in life, are sometimes the best choices you will make in life. And I had one lady, she pushed back on me and she goes, well, there's no opportunities in the city that I live in. And she told me where she lived. She was about an hour and a half outside of Chicago. And I said, oh, okay. Well, I said, well, that's an easy solution. And she goes, what? I go, move. I go, and she goes, well, it's not that easy. I didn't say it was
Right,
easy. I said it's an easy solution. Doing it might be hard. So
right.
it really comes down to, yes, you have to make hard decisions. You have to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. It wasn't easy for me, cleaning toilets or working in payday loans and working 18, 20 hours. Everybody celebrates um, the fact that I went from cleaning toilets to president of a software company to CEO of a publishing company, but no one wants to celebrate what took place in between that time period, especially at the software company. I went from the lowest paid person to president of the software company. Everyone's intrigued with that, but no one wants to talk about how in 5 years of being with the software company, I only took 11 days vacation the entire 5 years. And you and I both know most people in this day and age take 11 days vacation in the first quarter of the year. And so I took 11 days vacation in 5 years. 3 of those days were to get married. 2 of them were for the birth of my first child. One was for the birth of my second child, and then a few sporadic days in between there. So I put in the work and made sacrifices to advance my career as well.
Okay, so you have proven that it's possible, and the problem that I see as everywhere is the lack of belief. Maybe some figures like you could inspire other people and say, "Wow, if JT did it, maybe I can do it as well." And yeah, maybe, and that's one of the things that I like about your book, that you open up with you giving a speech at the juvenile center telling other kids, look, it can be done. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to come back here and have this as a revolving door. You can choose to be a drug dealer for the pharmaceutical companies and make even more money and succeed in life. But they have to see this example. And
Yeah.
I don't think in the black community there is enough of that example.
I totally agree. There aren't, you don't see a lot of people, here in the States right now, you've got the protest, and there was a big issue being made about that there are only 4 Black CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. And what was interesting is no one dug a little deeper to actually look at the names of those CEOs. And I pointed out to people, because I used to go by JT and now I go by my name, JeVon. And I explained to people the reason why. So I'll back up a bit. Those four CEOs, black CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, here are their names: Kenneth Frazier, and I'm huge fans of these guys. Kenneth Frazier, Roger Ferguson, Renee Jones, and Marvin Ellison. Four very ambiguous names that you would not necessarily know the race of those gentlemen. Well, what stuck out to me was there was no JeVon up there. And back when I was in my early 20s, I remember I was trying to land appointments and I was trying to get on people's calendars, and I could not get an appointment or land a meeting. And one gentleman got on the phone with me and he said to me, he goes, "Hey, tell me, how did you get a black first name with an Irish last name?" What was intriguing to me is I didn't even know my last name was Irish. So, but what jumped out to me was, oh, wow, he just said I had a black first name. I wonder if that's why I'm not getting appointments. So that week, I switched my name to JT McCormick, started going by JT. And the following week, I got all kinds of calendar invites, all kinds of appointments. So I started going by JT McCormick until about 7 months ago. And I made the decision to go by JeVon. Back to your point, I want all those kids of color in the communities that I come from to see a JeVon made it out of those communities and became a CEO as well. Not just, a Robert Smith or a Roger Ferguson, but a JeVon. And so for all those kids, for the Laquanda, for the Rayvante, the Letitia, I wanted them to be able to see, hey, you know what? JeVon made it out. And maybe one day when you start to work in corporate America, you don't just have to work next to a JT. You can work next to a JeVon as well.
Wow. My story is a little bit the inverse. I have a French name and I live in a French province, and I got lots of appointments to see it for to have an interview. But as soon as they detected my Spanish accent, they told me, "Oh, I'm sorry, the position has been filled." So so I couldn't get a job, and that's what drew me into entrepreneurship. Wow. So okay, Javon. So you were cleaning toilets, then you play in the stock market, then now you are the CEO of Scribe Media. First of all, how did that happen? And secondly, what inspired you to write this book?
So, oh man. So I'll tell you how the book came about. When I was the president of a software company, I was traveling a lot. And at the time, I only had two children. And I remember saying to myself, I was on a flight, and I'm not a big fan of flying, and we had a lot of turbulence. And I remember saying, okay, if something happened to me, my children wouldn't know my backstory. They wouldn't know how I came to be, the things that I went through. So I made it my mission when I landed. Okay, I got to do a book. I got to document this. So I reached out to my LinkedIn network and asked, can someone help me to do a book? And I got introduced to the two co-founders of Scribe. They came over to the office where I was at the software company. We sat down, we went through everything, and they were like, "Yeah, you got an amazing story." And I remember I said to one of the co-founders, I said, "Look, I don't want my book to be public. I don't want to ever even sell a copy because I didn't want anybody to know my story. I didn't want them to know my background and where I came from and all the things I went through." And so he goes, "Well, can you give us feedback on our process as you go through this about our company and what we're doing?" Long story short, I would give them feedback on their process, what they were doing, where they could improve. The two co-founders sat down with me one day and they said, "Hey, if we give you a ton of equity in the company, would you come be the CEO?" And I said to myself, I've been the president of a software company and I can't write code. Now I can be the CEO of a publishing company and I can't spell. God bless America. Sign me up. So yeah, that's how I. And so again, I never wanted my story to be public. The mistakes I made in life, the fact that I couldn't hold a relationship with women. I was a monster in relationships. The mistakes I had made throughout my career. I wanted my kids to know those. But through a lot of support, encouragement, conversations, I decided to make the book public. And so here we are.
Okay, another thing is that you are a keynote speaker and you grew up in the hood. You probably had the slang of the hood and you can rap it with the boys. But now your language is very sophisticated, let's say. And how do you develop this ability to just get up on the stage and speak and share your story?
So, so Ali, appreciate this because you said you watched YouTube videos to learn. So again, I've only been speaking for what 3 years now. And so the two co-founders come to me and they said, "Hey, you're going to go to San Diego and you're going to speak." And I said, "Speak to who?" And they said, "You're going to speak on stage." And I go, "Speak about what?" And they go, "You're going to tell your story." And I said, "The hell I am." And so that's all they said. And I'm like, well, okay, what else do I do? So I had never been on stage before. 3 years ago, I had never been on stage before. And so I went and started watching YouTube videos. I watched the pastor Joel Osteen. I watched Jerry Seinfeld. I watched the comedian Kevin Hart, the pastor TD Jakes. And my three takeaways were don't look down, keep your hands out of your pockets, and don't say
Right.
So I went out there, gave my speech. When my speech ended, I was so in a rush to get off of the stage. I didn't even look at the crowd. I got off stage, or I was behind stage, and someone pointed up at the monitor, and I got a standing ovation. And then a lady comes running over to me, and she says, "Ali, you're gonna love it." She says, "Hey, who's your speaking coach?" And I looked at her and I go, what's, I said, "I'm not being a smartass." I go, what's a speaking coach?" She said, "Who trained you on your stage presence, your delivery?" And I said, TD Jakes, Joel Osteen, Kevin Hart, and Jerry Seinfeld. But yeah, it was truly much like everything else in my career was self-taught. It just, okay, I got to go get on stage. I have to deliver this message. What's the best way to do it? And so it was take initiative and go find a way to make it happen.
Okay, but let me push a little bit hard. I mean, what you say made sense. You watch a whole bunch of videos and you make notes. This is the things that I should do and shouldn't be done. But in spite, it takes practice, and like you cannot overcome your nervousness and insecurity once you are facing the audience. And I guess you did, but I just wanted to get more out of that first experience.
For me, Alan, it's I always look. Those are times when I dip back into my past, and so I'll share one particular story. I'm sure you read in the book. Here's a stressful situation for me. When I was left in the house with my three half brothers and sisters for 3 weeks, and we didn't have any food to eat. My dad was in England, my mother was in Texas, and the prostitute we got left with, she left the house. And it was February in Ohio. It was cold, and I was with my 4-year old, 3-year old, and 2-year old half brothers and sister. And the prostitute left us, and we didn't have any food, man. And I had to walk down to the store to steal food so my brothers and sisters could eat. And every day, I mean, every hour, I would stress that they would disconnect the electricity or disconnect the water. And I would say to myself, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We'll freeze. We won't be able to take a bath. We won't have any water to drink. And I remember as a 12-year-old kid how stressful that was to me because there wasn't anything I could do about it. I was supposed to be in school, but I made a commitment. I was not going to leave my brothers and sisters. So for me, that was the most stress I've ever been in life. So for someone to go tell me to get on stage, I don't look at it as stressful. And that's how I treat my whole life. It's okay, what have I overcome? what have I been through? And I take those experiences and I say to myself, okay, if I can get through that, I can definitely get through this.
Do you think there is anything in particular to you as a person that you overcame all these obstacles, and yet so many people are afraid to overcome those? But I just want to help out as much people as possible, and I'm trying to get out of you the secret sauce that maybe somebody else can put in their cooking, and maybe get rid of their fears and just believe that it's possible.
Well, so here's a couple of things I will share with you. A bit of the secret sauce. It's consistency. It's every day. This didn't happen overnight. You know, this was every day belief. And I'm going to share this. I eliminated 3 words from my vocabulary as a kid. There's 3 words I completely did away with: hope, wish, and luck. And the reason being is, I'll start with hope. When I was a kid and I would hope my dad would come pick me up, he never showed up. When I was a kid and I would hope there was something to eat when I got home, it never produced anything. So I stopped hoping. And what I replaced hope with was belief. And I'll give you an example here. I've got a pastor friend of mine, and he comes to me and he says, JeVon, I said hope in my sermon 16 times last Sunday. I can't not say hope at church to the congregation. And I said, okay. I said, follow me here. Do you want me to hope there's a God, or do you want me to believe there's a God? And he looked at me. Keep in mind, Alan, he's a pastor. He looked at me and he said, damn. He said, I've never considered it that way. I said, look, I believe there's a God. I have to live a godly lifestyle. I have to commit to that. But if I just hope there's a God, that's not full commitment. And so if I believe I can have the big house, I've got to execute. I've got to go do whatever I need to do to get the big house. If I believe I can have that job promotion, then I've got to go and execute to make that happen. But if you just hope, you don't have to do anything. Well, I hope I have a house like that one day. Well, what are you doing to get it? Hoping does nothing. And then so wish, same thing. Well, I wish I got out of this neighborhood. What are you doing to get out? You can wish all day. I wish I had the big house. What are you doing to get it? And I'm so passionate about wish, Alan. So I've got 4 kids. My kids are 7, 5, 3, and 2. And so we got a lot of birthdays at the house. So when we put the birthday cake on the table and we put the candles on there, at the McCormick household, we do not say make a wish. We say make a goal. And so we tell our kids, blow out the candles, make a goal. Wishing is horrible. It does not produce anything. Right. So we believe. And then the last one, luck. There's no luck. You know, if people say I'm lucky. No, I was not lucky. You know, this is by way of a lot of struggle, a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice, but there's no luck that came with this.
Right. Well, you were lucky to be born in this country.
Alan, I love that you said that, because here's another piece of the mindset, especially here in the United States. If you were in front of me, I'd hug you right now. When I tell people all the time that on my worst day of being sexually molested as a child, or the things that I would see my dad do, or the struggles my mom went through, on my worst day, it still isn't as challenging as the single mom who's walking 1,100 miles from Honduras with her 2 kids to try to get into the United States to create an opportunity for herself.
To later on be separated from her kids.
Yes. And on my worst day, I never had to face that. I was born in this country. I have a responsibility to be successful because I was born here. So take the sexual molestation, take the fact that I was in and out of juvenile 3 different times, the fact that I'm 49 years old and I still don't know where my last name comes from. I was born in this country. I have a responsibility to be successful.
I believe that too, man. I believe we all have that responsibility. And well, I thank you for your time. Can you tell us one more time the name of your book? It's a long title.
it,
And
it's
where can
it,
people follow you?
it's called I Got There: How a Mixed Race Kid Overcame Racism, Poverty, and Abuse to Achieve the American Dream. And then if you're looking for me, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's the only social media platform I'm on. I do my best to share some of my mistakes I've made through my career, so other people can learn from my mistakes. So that's where you can find me.
JeVon, thank you so much for sharing your time with